What's going on YouTube? Cloverbells here, back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're going to be talking about Farigiraf in regulationF. So this is a Pokemon that we've covered before in previous videos, and right now in Scarlet and Violet, the last couple of formats have featured a very heavy priority meta, and I get a lot of tears and crying about people complaining, oh, I can't beat Dragonite, Chien-Pao, or I can't beat any of this priority stuff, right? So if you just look at the top priority Pokemon here, of course, like we said, Dragonite, then you have Chien-Pao here, okay? And now you add Entei into this group here, and this is the big three right now, just going for the big priority stuff. And then all of a sudden, now you add something like Raging Bolt with Thunderclap, right? And this is basically a big part of the meta right now, just a lot of pressure coming out of these four Pokemon, a lot of priority stuff. You might as well just add Urshifu into this group as well, right? But the question now is, how can you stop priority, right? And then why would people even play priority in the first place? So if you're playing Tailwind, okay, one way to get around Tailwind teams is it doesn't matter how fast you are. I have a priority move. I click extreme speed, you die. The Tailwind is irrelevant. And then on the flip side, if you go for Trick Room instead, so once again, we invalidate that, the same reason as Tailwind, where, it doesn't matter if you're the fastest thing in Trick Room. I have priority, I click priority moves, your Pokemon die, your Trick Room is useless, right? So what can we do is now we can consider a couple things. One is the Indeedee. Let me just remove some of these Pokemon now that you understand what we're looking at. You can definitely use the Indeedee, okay, because Psychic Terrain is great against priority Pokemon, right? Because you can't click priority moves in Psychic Terrain. That being said, a lot of these teams are gonna have Rillaboom, okay? And when they flip and change your terrain, now all of a sudden it becomes a terrain war where you have to really fight hard in pivoting and switching your Indeedee to override the grassy terrain with your Psychic Terrain and get the advantage back, right? So sometimes it's not so consistent, and if the Rillabooms have U-turn, then they're just going to keep chipping away at your Indeedee until you don't get an Indeedee anymore, right? So what's a little bit better of an option now is to use the Farigiraf, right? Because we're not so reliant on terrain. Now we get, access to Armor Tail where you can stop that. So, and of course it's got some decent bulk, like 120 base HP is pretty good. So a lot of these Tailwind teams, they've been able to feature Farigiraf. And then on the flip side, a lot of these Trick Room teams have also been able to feature Farigiraf. So this way you can switch it in and stop Dragonite and Raging Bolts going for their extreme speeds and Thunderclaps and whatnot. And then your Trick Room Pokemon or your Tailwind Sweepers get to actually play the game because they're next to this support Pokemon to be able to stop and deny a lot of these priority options, right? So the question now is, what can I do with Farigiraf? How can I build these teams that can really make good use out of Farigiraf? So lately, the meta has featured some strong Farigiraf teams, and we're going to look at those teams, and then we're going to give you a free Farigiraf team, right? Because that's what we do on this channel. We give you the resources that you need to be able to play in this competitive meta, like any meta, right? So let's take a look at the tournament results. Let's see what people have been using Farigiraf with. Let's start here. This tournament just wrapped up earlier today. This was the Victory Road Challenge. It had 258 players, and we just wrapped up Top Cut, about a few hours ago. So it was about top 24. And if you look at these teams right away, first of all, in the top 8, what do you notice? Top 8 has 4, I repeat, 4 Iron Crown teams with Indeedee, right? Because again, like we said, Indeedee is able to stop the priority stuff, right? Like there is no priority Pokemon here in the top 8. Where are they? They're all down here, right? Here's the Dragonite, Chien-Pao stuff. Here's Raging Bolt, Entei, Chien-Pao. They're all down here. They got one outed by the Indeedee Farigiraf stuff. And speaking of Farigiraf, right, here is the winning team. So if we just take a look at this from Hyungwoo Shin, okay, what is he running? So he's actually using bloodmoon ursaluna with the Farigiraf. So there's your Trick Room combination. You get Ogre Pond, Wellspring, and Incineroar. So Fire, Water, Grass Core. You get Intimidate. You get a Fake Out Pokemon. You get Redirection. All things you need to be able to, protect your Farigiraf and also allow the Blood Moon to do what it needs to do. And then Fluttermane over here with the Icy Wind Booster Energy to get advantage over the Tailwind teams. And another Pokemon on the rise is the Urshifu Dark, right? The Single Strike Urshifu with the Sash here. This is great against, potential mirror matchups against other Farigirafs. It's also great into the Iron Crown Side Spam team because you're a dark type, you punch through. And then it's also great into stuff like Latias, great into King Gambit. So Urshifu single strike, you know, we also saw it go to 20% usage in the Portland regionals, and now people are starting to adapt the Urshifu into their team. So instead of going for the water Urshifu, which gets pinned down quite a bit by the Ogerpon Wellspring, now what you're able to do is replace your Urshifu with this, the Ogerpon Wellspring, and now add the other Urshifu on the team. So you still get a Pokemon that can crit through stuff, you know, and go through Protect, right? Like you can just do simple stuff like Instant Urshifu, you know, fake out Wicked Blow, right? The same way you would go with like fake out Surging Strikes, you know, you pin that slot down, and it's just a lot of damage coming out of a single striking move. Now, that being said, Assault Vest Incineroar here, you might say, well, this is normally some kind of barrier or goggle set. What's with the Assault Vest? So the Assault Vest allows it to survive stuff like Earth Power Landorus, Life Orb, Sheer Force, right? The timid versions, okay? You can definitely live it. And then at the same time, you go something like an Adamant Nature, and now all of a sudden, the Incineroar becomes a dominant fire threat on your team. You know, Adamant 116, for example, is a pretty good spread to have, and then you just optimize your bulk to live that Earth Power, and then you're fine. So AV Instant, I like on a team like this, so definitely making note of that. But this is, again, another good way to utilize Farigiraf on teams like this. And I think we saw another one down here. Yeah, this one was with Reggie's. Oh, so this is Yuki's team. Let's take a look at this one. So here's Yuki. All right, Farigiraf, another Ursaluna bloodmoon team. There's the single strike Urshifu. There's the booster Fluttermane with Protect. And he's got the other Ogerpon this time, the Heartflame Ogerpon. So fire, grass idea here. So this is also pretty good. And then, of course, Registeel just becomes another good dominant sweeper in Trick Room games, right? The same way how we use Porygon Registeel. Farigiraf Registeel is also relatively nice as well, as is Cresselia Registeel. So this is another idea that you can definitely get some inspiration from. How about this one from Linguli? All right, again, the same idea. Look at this 4. Look at this consistent 4. Like Farigiraf, Urshifu single strike, Fluttermane booster energy, and the Bloodmoon Ursaluna. You might as well just start with this core of 4, right? Because again, you can't argue the results, right? So never try to reinvent the wheel. Most times, you know, use what has been proven from the data, and that's what we do, right? We look at the data, we see what's good, we use it, and then we adapt it a little bit to how we like to play it, and then it ends up being a great team. Why? Because the data says that this is the 4 that should be on your team, you know, if you're using this archetype. And now instead of the Incineroar, now we have Iron Hands here. So Iron Hands has dropped a little bit in usage, but this is one of the teams that Iron Hands can still do relatively well on, just because, again, it's a strong Trick Room sweeper, physical Trick Room sweeper. Here's your special Trick Room sweeper. And then Clear Amulet is great right now on it, just because you don't get Intimidate cycled by the Incineroars, Landuses, or whatever, right? So I like this team a lot as well. So again, lots of common cores with a couple of niche Pokemon in there. And then if you look at, if there was another one that I wanted to show, I don't actually think it's in this tour, but anyway, so you see some ideas with Farigiraf. Now let's look at another tournament here. Let's look at this one, the Wide League from last night. So if we take a look at this, the standings from the Wide League, look at this. How many Farigirafs were here in the top 10? All right, let me click Farigiraf here. We had a 3rd place, a 4th place, and a 10th place team, right? So here's the idea. Let's look at Cable's team. So Cable is still going with Farigiraf Bloodmoon, okay? And he's got the Ogerpon Rock, the Rock Ogerpon. And then at the same time, he's got Rillaboom and Chien-Pao. So he still has priorities on his side, right? But then now you have Galarian Zapdos here. And this is great, again, into stuff like Incineroar, right? Galarian Zapdos will just one-shot that thing, especially with close combat. So Incin is not going to have a good time. And then at the same time, you know, this set with U-turn and knockoff is extremely versatile. You get to position out, you get to knock off important items. So I really like Choice Scarf Galarian Zapdos here. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then, again, you got Rillaboom to change terrain against Indeedees. You get your own priority stuff with Grassy Glide. Ogerpon now is a harder hitting Power Whip. Okay, lots of good things from Cable here, so shout out to him. Now, if we go and look at Jody's team, so Jody, again, utilizing Iron Hands also with the Clear Amulet set. but he's using Tornadus here. So now he's making his fast mode a little bit stronger. So now he's going with, you know, the Flutter Mane and the Urshifu with the specs here. And Farigiraf can also function under, you know, the Tailwind as well, you know, if it comes down to it as well. It's same with bloodmoon or ursaluna. You can outspeed Chi-Yu, you know, with the Tornadus here. So it makes a lot of sense. Bleak Wind, Protect, Tailwind, Icy Wind, so that's good. 2 Icy Winds from Flutter Mane. All right, shoutouts to that. You know, for me personally, I think 1 Icy Wind is enough. I would probably, you know, if you're going to go Icy Wind Tornadus, then replace this with something else, right? But, you know, 8-3, it's hard to argue against that as well. But again, another familiar core. Then G-Host team, look, it's the same kind of core with Assault Vest, Iron Hands, Terra Fire. This is, again, the Heart Flame Ogerpon. So lots of similar ideas that you see. But now, if you look here on this side, no, wait, not over here. Let's look at this over here, the Sheep Cup. So now you can also see Farigiraf here on the winning team, Alex Young's team, right? So look, this is now a Tailwind team, right? This is Whimsicott going with Raging Bolt, Flutter Mane, Ogerpon stuff. So you want to click your Tailwind. You want to be able to play the game with your Flutter Mane and Raging Bolt. Problem is, you know, if they have priority against these mons, okay, it's going to be hard to actually do that. So what do? You slap on Farigiraf, you switch it in, you deny those sucker punches, those, you know, those other thunderclaps and whatnot, and then, you know, your own Flutter is able to do stuff. I like Psyshock. That's the one I was going to suggest there instead of like an Icy Wind on Jody's side. I think Psyshock goes a long way this format, especially against stuff like Amoonguss and other Terra Poison things. So I think Psyshock is great. But again, Instant, Ogerpon, Wellspring, a very, very dominant Fire, Water, Grass core right now. Makes a lot of sense. But a team like this just makes sense. I like this from Alex. Is there another one like this? I think his was the only one that had it. There is this one with 3. Nah, not that one. That one's okay. All right, how about this one? So this one was the PK Worlds Kanto Tour. And again, if you just look at this one from Mr. Panther over here from the Netherlands. So, you know, Urshifu, Dark again, all right, Entei, and then Ogerpon Wellspring. So another Fire, Water, Grass core idea. And, you know, you want to click Trick Room. You want to set up the bloodmoon ursaluna. Here's your Flutter Mane. Here's your Urshifu. Look at this. The same 4 core. Instead of Instant, we have an Entei Assault Vest with the Ogerpon. So, cool. Again, some familiar ideas that people have been using and adapting. You could do the same as well. Was there another one here? Here's another one. Same ideas. Look, guys, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer, right? It's just, do you want to slap this on a Trick Room team, or do you want to slap this on your Tailwind Pokemon? So this way you can actually do more things. How about the Himi Tour? All right, this was recent. It was a couple of days ago. Let's see some other things here. Let's see if we can find a Farigiraf team. Again, like this one has Heatran. Okay, so it's just like cycling out these fire types here. We've seen Entei, we've seen Instant, we've seen Ogerpon Heartflame. Now we see Heatran. But again, Farigiraf, Flutter Mane, Ursh, okay, and there's no bloodmoon ursaluna, interestingly enough. So, you know, there is an Iron Hands here, but cool. Again, another Fire, Water, Grass core, but, you know, interesting to see no bloodmoon. You might as well, right? But this is nasty plot Farigiraf, by the way. I just noticed that. But anyway, is there more that we can see in Spotlight down here? This one is Smeargle with Metagross and stuff like that. So Raging Bolt, Metagross, and then here's Smeargle with Burning Bulwark, Lunar Blessing, Instruct, and Decorate. That's right, Smeargle does get Decorate this time. And then you can decorate basically any of these Pokemon. And if you want to use your priority moves against them, you slap on Farigiraf here and you switch it in, and now all of a sudden things get a little bit more interesting for your opponent. But this is another cool creative team to utilize that. Smeargle has been seeing a little bit of play, just not as much as one would imagine. Is there other here we go, another one, very standard, very classic Tailwind team with Raging Bolt, right? So here's Raging Bolt, here's Tornadus, here's your Fire, Water, Grass core with Instant, Rillaboom, and Urshifu Rapid Strike. And then what can really hamper it is, again, you know, priority stuff. So then you slap on Farigiraf in the back, okay, and now you get to do the stuff that you need to do. Like, we've seen this also with, like, you know, Regidrago, like Tornadus Regidrago. right? With a Fire, Water, Grass core, and then Farigiraf in there. Like that thing from Regulation D is still relevant now in Regulation F, right? So again, but we've seen the consistent cores, so we're not going to do anything different from that. What we will do is give you our take on it and still have something solid and consistent that has been backed and proven with the data that we just showed you. All right, so let's go back into Team Builder and let's go ahead and build our Farigiraf team so you too can use it as well. All right, so we're starting with Farigiraf here, and we might as well add the bloodmoon ursaluna here. So this is your trick room mode, right? Denying priority and also able to set up said trick room with the Farigiraf, right? And then again, we're gonna slap on the Flutter Mane here, and we're gonna also add the Urshifu single strike. So again, Sash is the way to go. I like Sash on the trick room variant. I think on some of the other teams you can go Scarf, but at the very least you start with these 4, right? And then booster energy with Icy Wind and Protect is ideal, for this kind of Flutter Mane set. And then after this, I like the Water Ogerpon Wellspring. I think, again, just having this bulk is excellent. And then this last slot, I feel like it's up for grabs. I think you can definitely do something like, the Iron Hands like we saw, just getting a good Fake Almond on your team and another strong physical Trick Room Sweeper. Besides the Ursaluna being the lone sweeper, being the special variant, or you can definitely utilize the Incineroar here with that Assault Vest variant, like we saw in the winning team from Victory Road. And I think with this Fire, Water, Grass idea, you get Intimidate, you get Fake Out, and you get Redirection. You get all of these things with the 2 options here, and just having Flutter, Urshifu for good breaker damage, and then Ursaluna for Graph along, with the Trick Room stuff. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I guess we'll give you both pace, but we'll start with Iron Hands here because this is what I was testing first. And again, Saltfest Iron Hands is still pretty good. Okay, you still have Heavy Slam access to pin some of those Flutter Mane slots. You can still Drain Punch, other things for good recovery, and you get an electric type that's great into the opposing Ogerpon Wellspring, right? So that's the benefit there of having Iron Hands. But this is what I would do. I would just use this 6, okay, and just build and using it. All right, so with Farigiraf here, I do like Safety Goggles on this. Again, Citrus Berry, Rocky Helmet, these are all good items on Farigiraf, but for me, just go, if you click Trick Room and they have an Amoonguss, it's going to be a little bit tough just to get around that. You have the Ogerpon here to help you, but we need a little bit more, and having Farigiraf here as another option, that can click Psychic into the Amoonguss, when we do have Trick Room up, is going to be very beneficial. Dazzling Gleam, of course, and Helping Hand is an ideal move set. Now, besides Psychic, you can definitely do Psychic Noise, right? So you stop potential healing, right? Which is great, against certain Pokemon. A little bit less damage than Psychic, but it's still a very, very good move. So if you like Psychic Noise as opposed to Psychic, you can definitely consider that. If you like Psy Shock, okay, you can also definitely consider that as well. But, for the sake of the video, I'm just going to put Psychic here. But any of those 3 moves will definitely suffice. Now, you can go Dazzling Gleam here with Terra Fairy. I think that's also pretty good. I like Terra Water in some cases just because, being able to resist Chien-Pao and Urshifu's Surging Strikes is very good in my opinion. And Water is just a great defensive typing altogether. So I like Water. If you like Fairy here with the Dazzling Gleam, definitely go for it. But again, this Farigiraf is not going to be doing a ton of damage. It's mainly here just to click Helping Hand and the occasional Trick Room, while your other Pokemon are just here to potentially sweep. All right. Ursaluna, Blood, this one is just very standard. Life Orb here with Blood Moon, Earth Power, okay, and what's that? Hyper Voice. Where's that thing? Yeah, there we go. Hyper Voice, and then just straight up Protect. You can definitely go Terra Normal here just for a little bit more extra Hyper Voice damage. You can go Terra Grass here to resist the Urshifu. Lots of different things you can do. I just like more raw damage, especially with Helping Hand. So I just went with that. Flutter Mane here, Moonblast, and Shadow Ball here. Your 2 stab moves is going to be pretty good. Terra Fairy would be the way to go here just to get a little bit more out of your Moonblast and resist the Sucker Punch dark damage from Chien-Pao or Urshifu. This one, Wicked Blow. This is Close Combat. This is Sucker Punch, and then we can have Protect. Now, again, you can have Detect, but that's another thing. But same thing here. Ogerpon, Ivy Cudgel, Horn Leech, Follow Me, and Spiky Shield, right? And then finally the Iron Hands, you know, again, just fake out pressure, Wild Charge, Drain Punch, and Heavy Slam, you know, to be able to pin the Flutter Mane slots is really good. Now, if you want to go Clear Amulet here, you can definitely do Clear Amulet, Iron Hands. You could even put in Ice Punch here to go against the Landorus Incarnate stuff. You know, that's also definitely worth consideration. If you want to put an ice move here, where was that? Yeah, right here, Ice Punch. You can definitely consider that. I've seen it a couple times, but I think just having access to Heavy Slam is also a great move into the Flutter Mane stuff. But, you know, to each their own. Lots of different, you know, variances that you can have with this 6, but, you know, I'm just putting one variant out there for you guys. All right, so now we'll do, did we do all the Terras? I think, no, we didn't. So this one we can make Terra Fire. This one is Water. This one we can still make it as Dark. Okay, you can definitely do Dark. You can also do Stellar, all right, for, you know, just for big damage, you know, originally. But if you want to just play it safe and just go Dark, you can definitely do Dark. We did the Flutter, we did Normal here, and we did Water. All right, so now we got all the Terras. So now let's go back here and let's discuss some potential EV spreads here. All right, so let's go ahead and start here with the Farigiraf. So basically, we want this thing to have a ton of HP and also have Bold Nature to, you know, help us against the physical meta that we have right now. So I think just going up to about 224 was good. This is just in case, you know, we go against Rillabooms, we can optimize our HP recovery in that grassy terrain. And then for our HP, you know, in terms of this, so like here's the bump here with 156. But I went about 196 here, you know, just to better take the double up, you know, under Terra Water against stuff like Chien-Pao going for Icicle Crash, as well as the Urshifu Surging Strikes in that regard. So I wanted to at least do that. And then from here, you know, just 1 point in the speed and then even the special attack, and just dump the rest into special defense like this. I think it was just 76 left over. Yep. So this was our Farigiraf spread, you know, very bulky, physically bulky giraffe. The ursaluna, again, just modest nature. I didn't go quiet. 1 point in speed. Let's go to the benchmark here with 196 and then just optimize the Life Orb recoil right here with 164 investment. And then what I was actually just calculating for was about 44 EVs here. This is good enough under Terra Normal to survive Adamant 156 close combat from an Urshifu, right? So this way, if they try to read you and instead of going Surging Strikes, they click close combat, we can still live that and then get off a potential whatever, you know, in that regard. And then just 100 points in Spidef like this. The Flutter Mane over here. So Flutter Mane, we made the decision that we're going to calc for Adamant Ice Spinner as opposed to Icicle Crash. I think Ice Spinner's a little bit more rising now just to be able to remove Indeedee terrain. It's a little bit more valuable. So that being said, we're still going to go Timid Nature and we're still going to go 189 to outspeed the Modest Mirror at max speed. And now what ends up happening is we're just going to go 124 and about 140, right? This is, again, going to survive the Adamant Chien-Pao stuff. So if we even just put this here, like just to show you as a little bit of proof. Standard Chien-Pao, here we can go Flutter. Let's go Blank Set. And again, we just go 124 investment. Like, again, we're getting there. And we just keep clicking this until we hit that 99 mark. And we should be able to approach it shortly. There it is, right? So there's the 84 to 99 roll with the Ice Spinner. So I think that was good enough. And then from here, look, you still have a ton more, you know, EVs to play with in special attack. And I think you could just definitely do something like this in the grand scheme of things. And if you want to get this perfect 170 roll, you can definitely just drop this by 1 and put this at 116. And now you get a nice little even number for the booster energy stuff, right? But this is still, you know, for speed, you know, just remember that, you know, but again, it's still outspeeding the Modest Mirror. But that's the whole idea with this Flutter set. Survive Adamant Chien-Pao, Ice Spinner, and then still do decent damage with 170 over here. And then just, again, with the speed here, outspeeding the Modest Mirror. Just do this. Right, nothing else really needs to be said. And if you do encounter Rillaboom, let's get it to 176. I think Jolly's still fine here, especially with Icy Wind support. And then the Ogre Pawn here. So here's what we're doing with Ogre Pawn. Okay, we're gonna go Adamant Nature. We're gonna go max HP, first benchmark and attack, 100 defense. Okay, no speed, maybe just 1 point, and then the rest goes into special defense. Now, how did I come up with this set? So at the very least, I still wanted 252-76. I still wanted max HP just to be super bulky, but I wanted to at least survive the, if I didn't have Farigiraf on the field, extreme speed Dragonite, right? So if I just go here and go over here to Dragonite, okay? And then again, just the choice banded stuff with Beads of Ruin. I'm sorry, Sword of Ruin. And if I had my Ogerpon Wellspring, just to get my bulky set here. So, this will live that, with Sword of Ruin. See, 88, 90, there's the 99 percentage. But then what I also wanted to do was live the Raging Bolt Draco Meteor for that matter, especially when it was booster energy. So at the very least, I wanted to survive that. Okay, so modest booster energy, Draco. Now again, that does a lot, but now once we got it to 76, this is the key of living that. So there it is. Thunderclap is not going to do nearly enough damage, of course. It just needs a little bit more, and just living a +1 Draco Meteor without even having to terrestrialize is huge. So that was the bulk that we decided here with our Ogerpon. So I'm gonna put that back. All right, it was very fortunate how it all worked out. And again, look, you get a nice even number for the special defense just in case you do go for the terrestrialization. And again, it's a Trick Room team, right? So I'm gonna be super slow, which is what I want. All right, Iron Hands. Listen, whether or not you go with the Clear Amulet or the Assault Vest, I'm just gonna put the Assault Vest because that's what I was testing with. Either way, I'm still going with the same Iron Hands consistent set. With 76 investment, 156 Adamant Nature attack, max speed def, and then 20 points in speed, just so that I have something here. I do speed tie. So what we're gonna do is let's go 12 speed here and let's go 84 HP, right? Just in that sense. So that's a little bit more, just so that I know who's going first, with 73 and 72. I don't want to speed time my own Pokemon there. So we'll just settle for that. All right. So here's the pace. So again, another good solid starting Farigiraf team, with the Bloodmoon Ursaluna, the booster Flutter, and the the Focus Sash Urshifu. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon with Protect. I just realized I put spikes here. Spiky Shield. There we go. Now we can make an accurate pace in that sense, right? So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna just try this out in a couple battles. Let's see how it feels. Let's see how it plays, and then we'll get you guys out of here with some final thoughts. All right, so this is again Size Spam. All right, so basically again, they have an interesting squad. There is definitely Trick Room on this Indeedee. This is why there's a Torkoal there. He's running on the Sun variant, so this way he can boost his Gouging Fire. Probably has Howl to boost his Iron Hands, and maybe even the Cresselia, just again having access to Trick Room, and then healing things over time is the way to go. But that being said, you got a lot of Pokemon here weak to Urshifu Dark, okay? And that's the main selling point right now in Regulation F. And he's got a lot of special attackers, okay? And he's got 2 fire types, technically 1.5 because of the dragon typing. So Ogerpon Wellspring looks great here, especially if we terrestrialize it. He can't really break it. So I just feel like just leading those 2 is going to be great. And then Bloodmoon can come in the back and finish things off, as can the Flutter main. So that's what I'm thinking right now. So here we go, Ogerpon and the Urshifu, and what's his lead? It's going to be Iron Crown and the Indeedee. So that's fine, because again, we can just force him to click follow me, double up this Iron Crown here. Goes Terra Water, but that doesn't matter, okay? Because now look at this. Like here, there's the helping hand. That's not gonna matter because he does Terra Blast. We have Sash anyway, so there's the benefit there. There's the Wicked Blow. That does so much damage. And now we go for Ivy Cudgel. Boom, it's over, right? There it is. Now, even if he lived, it wouldn't matter, because then we can just slap the Indeedee, which is what we're doing right here. So we slap the Indeedee. Goodbye. Wicked Blow. Again, busted move. Iron Crown Indeedee is dead. He did have Rocky Helmet, so good on him. And he goes for Belly Drum there. So I understand the idea within the Indeedee, I guess, but now he's just in a bad spot. Now we just bring in Flutter Mane and we clean up. Cresselia is not going to do enough here, okay? And, because of that, the fact that I see Detect, again, means there's no Assault Vest. So Moonblast just KOs him next turn. He didn't even click Trick Room here. He just went for the recovery. I at least go for the Trick Room, but now he can't. But either way, I had the Ogerpon to redirect. But Moonblast just removes the Iron Hands. There's no Assault Vest. And now we just bonk the Crest on the head. And even though it lives, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, because He has no offense, he has no pressure, and that's it. All right, so he's got some Arcaludon Rain Team here, with the Tornadus and of course the Arcaludon. Then there's Incin, there's Ogerpon, good fire with a Grass Core. Then he's got a Gastrodon here. Listen, I don't know why you have Gastrodon here. If you already have the Ogerpon, why is there a Gastrodon? I feel like you pick one or the other. Get rid of this. Like, I don't know who this is, but get rid of this Gastrodon. Add something else. You know, even something as physical, or even like another Raging Bolt, for example. But the Gastrodon here is just not the play. Even Rillaboom would be good here. But anyway, he doesn't have anything for Farigiraf, bloodmoon. He can't really stop it. He has no priority anyway. So there's Tornadus and there is Incin. That's not gonna do it. So you know, he clicks Rain Dance. There's Brick Break. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but we just click Earth Power and invalidate the Incineroar. Okay, and we get up Trick Room, which is great because now Ursaluna can go ham. He does bring in the Gastrodon, which is slower than Ursaluna, which is good for him. But this is why we go Terra Water to avoid the water or the ice move, which is what he used here. And now we just spam Hyper Voice. Tornadus goes down. Gastrodon almost melted. Okay. And he didn't even bring the Arcaludon, so he probably just forfeited. So, I don't know what he was supposed to do there, but, you know, a ton of pressure right from the get-go. Okay, what if you didn't like the Iron Hands variant? What if you wanted to try the Assault Vest Incineroar idea? So, what I would do is I would probably just make this more aggressive with Fake Out, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, and U-Turn, just like the T. This is a very standard Assault Vest Incineroar set. U-Turn is going to do a lot of damage, and we're going to go Adamant 116. You know, so this way we hit the bump in the attack stat. And now what we want to do is actually just literally max out the HP for the sake of it. And now we'll see how much of Spadef that we actually need to survive the Landorus Earth Power, right? So let's go to Incin. Okay. And we'll go 2v2. We'll slap on the Assault Vest item. All right. And we're going to account for the Timid Landorus. All right. There are some that are modest. All right. I will say that there are some that are modest, but for the most part, if they want to outspeed Enteis and Chiyus, they got to go Timid. All right. So Earth Power does a lot right now. 25% chance to KO. So here's what we do. We get this to a nice even number until we're able to survive it. And that's all we needed. 36 investment. Let's go 34, right? You know, just, or rather 44 for that matter. But 28 was 28 all we needed? All right, 28 gives you that roll. If we go 36, is that good enough? Yeah, we could definitely do that. So here, let's go 28. This will give you the 6.3% chance roll. And then you have about 36 speed here, just to, you know, potential outspeed the mirrors, and then 76 defense investment. So if you wanted to guarantee, what I would do is just do something like this. Just drop a point here in the defenses. And let's go to 44, you know, just so that we get a little bit more bulk out of this. So I would just do something like this. And then for Incin, just go like simple Terra Water or even Terra Dragon. But you could definitely utilize something like this. All right. So anyway, we got both pace here. So we've got the AV Incin variant meant to survive the Earth Power Timid Landorus. We made it offensive, you know, with Adamant 116. So it's going to do some good damage with Knockoff and Flare Blitzes. Then we have the other variant with the Iron Hand. Still, you get Fake Out Pressure, but now you get an electric type, which is great into a lot of these bulky waters, these Ogerpon Wellsprings that want to terrestrialize as well. You get Heavy Slam for the Flutter Mains. You get Drain Punches for, you know, other dark types like a Chien-Pao or even like an Incineroar for that matter. And that being said, you can go Clear Amulet if you don't want to go and get Intimidate cycled. I think that makes a lot of sense. But this is the way I would do it, right? So either variant works out fine. But yeah, definitely consider Farigiraf right now if you're getting smacked by priority Pokemon. And let us know how you do with the team overall. You know, give it a test run. But yeah, if this is something that you're interested in terms of like building a team and needing help fixing it, sign up for coaching on the channel. All right, we've got the tier 3 sub available. You know, if you click the link in the video description, you get access to our tier subs. You know, again, tier 3. We'll give you that one-on-one team building session with me via Discord call. You get to join the Discord. You can message me on Discord. Or you can click the same link in the pinned comment section of the video. It's exactly the same thing. I just give you another place to locate the option to join the channel with the tier sub. Okay? If you're going to Charlotte, I definitely recommend it. We've got a bunch of coaching sessions booked for you guys. If you're going to Knoxville, I would wait until after Charlotte is done, just so that we can get some updated meta results. But yeah, other than that, here it is. Give Farigiraf a go. Give Urshifu Single Strike a go. We'll do another video on that Pokemon in a second. But yeah, we'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.